All right. It looks like we are officially live. I have a special guest. You can't see his face yet, but you do have quite the view there through the Oculus
Yeah.
goggles. But Isolation Streams is joining me today, better known as Nathan from Florida. How are you?
I'm doing great. Everybody can see my POV right now. Let me
Yeah, the official behind the scenes.
I look so stupid.
That's hilarious. That's great.
Yeah.
Because I had accidentally connected to his VR headset prior to the stream
Yeah.
starting, and we're like, "What's going on here?" But here
Yeah,
we
I had
are.
no idea. But we're chilling. What's up? What's up?
Yeah, just good. Life's busy and a lot of craziness going on. I'm trying my best to keep up with everything. I'm sure you are too,
Oh
with
yeah.
life and just
Oh yeah.
everything going on, right? Like it's quite the time to be alive, to say the
Yeah.
least.
The financial situation that's going on right now is kind of interesting with the
Yeah.
banks. The elephant in the room, I feel like we should.
Yeah, for sure. Then now interest rates hiked again. It's like to me, it's not even about what just happened. It's more about like what does the Fed do next? Because everyone kind of
Mhm.
knew like this was gonna, or this is like what they've been saying, like we're gonna raise rates, we're gonna raise rates. Now it's like okay, we're like kind of as far as you can go, but it's kind of still inflation. You're not at your target, but now these banks are in trouble. Like, what do you do here? So that's kind of where my head's at. Like, what are they gonna do next? What are they even gonna say next? I mean, Powell say
Mhm.
whatever he needs to say, right? He'll just turn on the money printer,
Yeah.
turn it off, but what do you think
Yeah,
there?
they're pretty out in the open about the fact that they can just print away all their debt. Um, I mean, there's that whole what was like Biden said we've never defaulted on our debt before. It's like
Mhm,
we've done like a million times. Like when and the greenbacks and
mhm.
going off the gold standard, that was all basically defaulting on our debt. So I think that it's probably going to happen again. But I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a little I don't know. They're never going to cut spending. So if we don't raise the debt limit, then
mhm.
we're going to default on our debt, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's going to be bad.
Yeah, no, it's definitely alarming, and I know I had sent it over to you the other day. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it yet, about the dollar endgame. One of the
Yeah, yeah.
things Peruvian Bull talks about in that, which I found really, like, very alarming, but, like, wow, this is very true. When we get to the point where now debt is well over 100% of GDP, we're getting to and now interest rates are this high, the interest soon isn't even gonna be able to be paid off by what's being earned because it's just
Hmm.
so heavily in default, and then how do you get out of that cycle? It's like no way out. You raise rates, you cut rates, like
Oh
neither's
yeah.
a good answer, which is like that's like holy crap, like
Yep. Yep. And I mean, it's a lot like what happened to Argentina. If you look at what happened with their debt, they had the same
Mhm,
kind of thing. And it got to a point where through so much government mismanagement,
mhm.
but like their debt was so much that they defaulted on it, and it destroyed their economy. And
Wow.
now they've basically permanently been stunted. I think like they had so much of that owed to China as
Mhm.
well, which was just way worse.
Yeah, that
Yeah. So
can't be ideal.
no, not at all. And I mean, all of our debt's going there too.
Mhm,
And the people who are really going to be affected by this aren't like, by us, by our dollar collapsing, aren't, is not going to be, China, Russia, or anybody else. It's going to be us. They're going
mhm.
to benefit from it
Yeah.
because
No,
they're
and
not
that
even
makes
using our
sense.
dollar.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
the
like,
crazy thing going on right now, how they're trying to start the thing with BRICS and the yuan or totally butchering that, the Chinese yuan is being used a
hmm
lot more. See crypto kind of making moves here and there. So it's an interesting time because to me, nothing like this has ever really happened. I mean, I think we're both young and like haven't seen like decades of experience, right? But
yeah.
there's no denying what's like if you look at historics versus now, like there's never been a situation like this with all
No,
these
yeah.
crazy factors going on. So like that's why it's most fascinating to me and like why I want to do like streams like this, just talking about it because it's real time documenting like what do people think the hell is going on when nobody knows what the hell
hmm
is going on type of thing. So
Yeah, it's
it's
definitely unparalleled.
yeah, and I just really always kind of think about what happens next, and it definitely keeps me up at night sometimes. I'd say just what's the answer? And like, I can't do anything, so it shouldn't keep me up at night. But at the same
hmm
time, you're like, well, I want to do what's best for me, but it's so hard to know what's best for me when nobody knows what to do, right? If that kind of makes sense. I don't know, maybe that's a little bit
Yeah.
of a ramble, but just a lot of like uncertainty in the air doesn't really help. If I guess if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, everybody kind of has this. I mean, I don't know about everybody, but at least me, I kind of have this thing in like the back of my head where it's like, you kind of just have this understanding, even if it's like flawed or whatever, that these kind of pillars of the economy,
Hmm.
like these massive banks and stuff, these massive institutions like the Fed and, like JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, like these are
Hmm.
massive companies that are unmoved by even like the largest forces, like literally too big to fail and stuff. But it's like,
Hmm.
it's kind of like not true. And you're kind of seeing that now, how it's like, it's all kind of just an illusion. And the stuff that's going on right now could really
Hmm.
affect things. So it's like when those kinds of pillars are gone, you really don't know, what's going to happen.
Yeah,
That's
and
what
it was
sometimes
like,
it makes me.
yeah, like strangely, like I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Day After Tomorrow. It has like
Oh,
nothing to
yeah,
do with
yeah.
that, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was just like having these thoughts last night or like late at night, and then like I was flicking through the TV, and I
Mhm.
was like, oh my god, is this like a weird sign or something? You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, right.
I was like, why am I haven't come across this movie in like years. Why did I just come across it right now? Type of thing. But like you were kind of saying, too big to fail. I think a lot of people
Mhm.
maybe thought that with First Republic, but it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
no big deal. JP
It's
Morgan will
gone.
just take them
Yeah.
over. Nobody bat an eye. Like until
Mhm.
these, I feel like nobody even cared that First Republic failed
Yeah.
until um, WAL and
Mhm.
what was the other one we were talking about right
Uh,
before?
Pacific Western.
Yeah, until those names dropped a ton, then people were like, oh wait, is this like
Mhm.
Silicon Valley Signature Bank
Yeah. So
continuing part two?
yeah, it was all of that, and then you had like U.S. Bank and Valley National and Truist. All these like regional names started to really get affected. And I saw something
Mhm.
interesting. I don't know how accurate this is. I think it's pretty accurate. I don't know. I saw it on Wall Street Bets, and I looked into it, and it seemed to check out. But
Mhm.
Western Alliance lost like more than half its value in an hour because there was a story that was published by the Financial Times that said they were exploring a sale of
Mhm.
their stock, or not their stock, their
I
company.
did hear this
Um,
actually. Mhm.
and it was fake. It was a fake story. I don't know if they got it confused with Pacific Western, or like Pacific whatever, um, or and Western Alliance. I don't know if they got the names confused
Mhm.
or what, but it caused the stock price to tank. So
Mhm.
people lost a lot of money, and then like they sold, and these people bought puts because they thought the company was going to go under, and then they retracted it, and the stock price went back up. So people who bought in lost, and
Mm.
people who bought puts lost,
Gotcha.
and it was like a huge, huge scandal.
Mhm. Yeah, I actually saw that, and I completely forgot about that. I'm glad you brought that up. And then
Yeah.
someone's comment on it where I came across it. I think it might have been Twitter. Somebody tweeted it and like, "Oh, well, I know what happened here." And what they basically said is like, "Well, if you're I don't know exactly what it was, but it's like if you want to cause a bank run, like that's a great way to do it. You know, it's a great way to
Yeah.
cause. How do you like if you're shorting the stock, right? And you're an
Hmm.
institution, and then you have theoretically, right, allegedly, a media
A guy
source.
working at Financial Times, then.
Exactly. Great. Pretty
Mhm.
convenient. So I mean that was the one person's take, but I mean who's to
And
say what
then,
really happened? But regardless,
yeah,
it's
you
crazy.
you do that, and then you make a lot of money, you close, and then it's like, then you buy a bunch of calls, and then you
Hmm.
tell them to retract it, and you make money on both ends.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy, and it's just kind of the same song and dance in the financial sector. It just goes
Yeah.
on and on. And it's so fascinating to me, like, the more I keep an eye on this stuff over time, how patterns can repeat themselves, even a little bit with, like, meme coins, so to speak. I don't know if you've seen, like, that Pepe coin
Yeah,
out of
and
nowhere. Like, I was like, "What
mhm,
is this?" And now I'm like, "Why do I
mhm.
keep seeing it? That means it's a big thing," or, like, the next thing, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm not
Like
buying in.
yeah,
When you
no,
hear about it, the moment you hear about it, it's already too late. Like, that's
that's
the thing.
exactly what I thought, bro. That's literally exactly what I thought. I was like, "Okay, what is this? Why am I hearing
Mhm.
about it? It's too
And
late." Like
the only time I have ever gone on like the not even like how do I say it? Like I got in before it got popular, like
Mhm,
before it blew up. The only time it's ever happened to me is actually with Pacific Western.
mhm.
And I think I told you about this. I think I messaged you about this when
Oh,
it
yeah.
happened.
Mhm,
But I bought $6 a share puts on Pacific Western on Monday for like 50 cents a piece. I bought two of them,
mhm,
and then that was like the day before it was announced that they were looking for like a sell off, like to sell their company.
mhm.
And overnight their stock price was cut in half, like 60, 70%.
Yeah.
And And that was like the only time I got in before it happened. And I was just like, because I just saw
Mhm.
the pattern that like this is kind of what it looked like before
Mhm.
First Republic went under. So then I bought in and I made a few bucks. Um,
Nice.
I
Definitely good you
mean
got out.
that
I mean,
yeah,
based
right.
off the
Yeah,
rest of the
for real.
week.
Yeah, because then it went back up. But
Yeah, I would.
that just kind of
Mhm.
tells you, you know, you really can't predict these things. Like we can't predict the next thing that's going to blow up. It's kind of just
Mhm.
luck.
For sure, yeah, and definitely I would say timelines are always difficult to determine. Like I think it's really good. I mean, of course, always everyone's gonna make their own
Hmm.
moves, but a lot of people I would say in that spot will be like, oh well, I'm gonna wait till they go all the way under. With
Yeah.
options, it's so time sensitive.
Hmm.
Like you said, you're like, wow, I timed it so well. I think it's great. You
Hmm.
gotta be just like, you saw like, damn, I timed this well. Why would I want to risk it anymore?
Yeah.
Like I'll just take the money and run. So it's awesome though. I'm
General
happy for you.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. General rule of thumb that I have when it comes to options trading is if you make 100% of your investment, it's good to just cash out. 100,
Hmm.
150, it's like why try to just hold it? I mean, you've already made a pretty good
Hmm.
profit. So, I mean, I've seen those people who like there was a guy who did Western Alliance who bought
Hmm.
puts against Western Alliance, made like 200 grand and was just holding it, but then it went that they weren't actually selling off and he lost
Hmm.
like almost all of that. Something similar happened to
Insane.
me with
Mhm,
it wasn't First Republic. It was one of the other ones that
mhm.
it might have been First Republic. But I bought I was only like I put in $30 and it went up to like $450 and I didn't cash out
Damn,
because I'm
that's
like, oh,
rough.
this is gonna keep going. And then it slowly and then I
Mhm.
only made like $50 and I was
Damn.
kicking myself. So
Yeah, those almost hurt more sometimes because 'cause you're like,
yeah,
"Ah, I was literally
yeah.
right." Like
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No,
But
I haven't been messing with options too much, but definitely haven't said, I'm like, this guy's making some money over here," but
options trading is fun. That's all I'm gonna
Mhm.
say. Not financial advice, but you have a lot of fun when you're doing it.
Yeah, no, I remember, that's I don't know if I ever told you, but that's originally how I was originally in GameStop, like January 2021. I
Hmm.
was just messing around with options, and I had hit an insane option because I ran out of day trades on
Hmm.
Robinhood. Because I
Oh,
was just
nice.
always fiending with that. Like I was an options fiend for like a couple of years in college, and like I had a group chat with
Hmm.
friends were always like, "Yo, Palantir, like this." How that was one that actually did well. That's why I remember it. Most of the other ones
Hmm.
went to shit. We'd always try and trade like USO like options and stuff like that. But yeah, I definitely had a wild time with it, and that's how I kind of really got into GameStop. And then I made a ton of money on an option, and then I did
Hmm.
a couple options after that that I lost a good chunk of what I made, and what I had made was insane, like
Hmm.
enough to pay off a good portion of a loan type insane. So losing that huge amount was like, oh my god, these things are crazy if you go big with them because I
Yeah.
was so I was like, I don't know how to else to put this in a PG version. Like I was swinging my dick around. I was like, oh, I'm up to shit now. I know what to do
Yeah.
with options. I'm gonna throw some big money in. This GameStop thing's gonna keep happening. And
Hmm.
this whole journey I'm on now, I'm obviously invested, and I'm not doing options with GameStop. And obviously, like
Hmm.
what you're doing is completely different. But that was kind of
Hmm.
like, I guess, my like background, my OG
Yeah.
days of options, so to speak, on it. So it was like a fun story to share because
Yeah. Yeah.
it's crazy. But yeah, like what you're saying is absolutely right. Like about managing it because I
Hmm.
never managed risk. I feel like with options, I always was
Yeah.
just gooning it straight up, and it was like, yeah, baby, zero or hero, like all those like or whatever
Yeah.
else they said on Wall
It
Street bets.
yeah, Wall Street bets and to an extent super stocks kind of like they get you hyped up to
Mhm.
really not consider risk as a factor when you're
Yeah, I'd
investing.
say so. Yeah, yeah.
And it's yeah, you kind of got to tune out the noise a little bit when you hear people like,
Mhm.
"Oh, hold, you got to hold it till
Yeah,
the
yeah,
end." It's
exactly.
like,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just gonna take like my fucking $10,000 return and not try to make that 20. I'm
Yeah,
just gonna
yeah,
accept my
exactly.
10,000.
10 is nice. Yeah,
Yeah, sure,
but
20 is good, but I'll take the 10 that I have
yeah,
now, right? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but looking back at like interest rates, do you think they keep raising them, or do you think a cut? I feel like my standpoint is they're going to be kind of flat for a little while they try and figure out like what the hell to do. Which I heard they're doing like a platinum coin is an option. All these
yeah,
crazy
that's
ideas. I'm
weird.
like,
That would cause just that alone. If that was like a serious proposal, I feel like that would cause so much
mhm.
market. like volatility, just mentioning that
Mhm,
it would cause a collapse. Just saying, oh yeah, we have a $1 trillion
mhm.
coin now, so we can pay off our debts. It's like that's just gonna fuck everything up. So I don't think they're gonna do that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that
I
would
think
be
that would
kinda
be
wild because
stupid.
then when then the next time it's like, "Oh, what do we do now? Another $1 trillion coin. Let's just mint another
Yeah,
one," it's like they're just gonna do that forever, like, then what if
yeah,
they get stolen somehow? I mean, I would imagine it'd be
yeah,
under the most maximum security, but then
yeah,
again, I mean, I feel like crazy things have happened in this world these days. I wouldn't even be surprised if that was like a headline. Platinum
yeah.
coin gets stolen from the Federal Reserve Bank of whatever.
Yeah, I mean, shit. I'd be down to try that.
Yeah, if the
Fuck
heist is
it.
right.
Yeah.
It'd
Fuck
be
it.
like that
$1 trillion.
show Money Heist.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, but I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to say what they're gonna do if they're gonna keep raising rates. I feel like they're always gonna side with the banks. They're not gonna
Mhm,
try to stop inflation. Um,
mhm,
so I feel like they're just gonna probably gonna raise rates if it comes to it,
mhm.
even more. Just to try and save the financial sector. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I just fear that
It's
if they raise rates, more situations like this will unfold. Because I think
Yeah, I mean,
after Oh, go
but
ahead.
like that's the thing. Like you have to think
Mhm,
about the fact that um like this is kind of just the consolidation of the banking industry into a few big parties, and it's
mhm.
like
Absolutely.
if that's is that the end goal of the Federal Reserve? A lot of people think it is, and
Mhm.
these regional banks going under really benefit the bigger banks. Now I feel like
Yep.
this kind of situation got a little out of hand because you could see Morgan Stanley and J.P. Morgan and stuff going
Mhm,
under significantly. I made some money off of contracts against them.
mhm,
Not a whole
uh,
lot, but it's like they did go down a good amount this week. So
mhm.
I don't know. Maybe it's not going to happen. Maybe they're going to try to stop that from happening, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's kinda like we were saying before, totally unprecedented times, like, nobody knows what the
Hmm.
hell is gonna happen, but I definitely found it interesting, or you kinda touched on there, where JP Morgan, I actually basically said, like, after they wound up being the acquirer of First
Hmm.
Republic, like, "Yeah, we're gonna benefit off of this," or, like, "This
Oh
is gonna
yeah.
be, like we'll have one-time profit reported or some kind," so I forgot exactly, and
Hmm.
also, we do raise our, like, guidance slightly because of this, because they're just like a conglomerate. They just swallow them up, and like you kind of
Hmm.
said, like it's just more and more regional banks are going to go, and just the big dogs are just going to get bigger.
Yeah.
And I think you might have even retweeted it. Would you see that video edit of like Jerome Powell, where he
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I've just had to make this stock price cheaper for my boy Jamie Dimon," or something like
Yeah.
that. That should have me
Hmm.
laughing. That was funny. And
Jamie
you're right, though.
Dimon's
It's
gone. Have you?
mhm.
You heard about that?
Yeah, the thing
Um,
with
with
the island
Epstein.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
crazy.
crazy. That
Yeah,
is cool.
it's all
I'm
going on in
actually
the
hyped.
background of all this chaos right now too,
Yeah.
like,
Yep. I mean, maybe the chaos is a distraction from the fact that
who
people are
knows?
actually
Yeah.
getting arrested. I mean, that's
Yeah.
crazy. If Jamie Dimon gets arrested, because he already lost his job at the end of the month,
Mhm.
which maybe by puts against J.P. Morgan because of that.
Maybe.
Um, but I mean, if he gets arrested, like this isn't even related to like the whole banking crisis, but that would be crazy if we could start seeing
That
these
would be
people who were
nuts.
connected to Epstein go down.
Yeah.
I'd pay for that. I'd pay to see that.
Yeah, I think, a lot of people wanna see justice, but, I don't know, that's a whole this is a whole topic
Yeah.
in itself,
Yeah, yeah. I don't
so
know. I don't know how deep into that you want to go, but
nah,
I
yeah,
just
I'm
think
not
it's cool.
not too deep, and also, I don't know, too it's one of those things, like, I almost don't even wanna know, 'cause it's just gonna, like, piss me off, like, I
Mhm.
know a little bit, and then just come across what I come across, and then I'm like, just like
Everybody
piss
you
me off.
already hate in charge of the banking industry was connected. That's all you need to know.
Gotcha. Good. Too long didn't read. Sounds good.
Yeah. You'll
Yo,
just
quick.
hate them more.
Yeah. Quick shout out to Amjon Lacey in the chat. Thank you for being here. He's watching me from the 9 hole. And he's on
Hell yeah.
vacay right now. It's my boy.
Hell yeah.
So just pulled up for the stream real quick. But you ever golf at all?
No, mini golf is
Oh,
the extent
nice.
of my experience with golf.
Mini golf is a great
I
vibe,
top
though.
golf, top golf
Oh,
too.
nice.
I've done that.
Nice.
That's good.
I still have to do that one day. I've been meaning to. It seems pretty fun.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It's a good time.
Yeah, no, I started golfing a little bit. It's a good vibe. And I feel like, a lot of could see in the future, some kind of business deal I got to do or something. I'm like, yeah, we'll hit the course and
Yeah.
talk about it. I know what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
exactly.
Stuff like that. So
I mean,
that
you,
could be
you
cool.
can't really call yourself a financial expert if you don't play golf.
Exactly, dude. You said it, not me. But yeah, to kind of circle back to some of those names, do you think we get another failure in the near future, or like any perspectives on that?
I so at the beginning of the week, if you'd asked me, I would have been like a definite yes.
Hmm.
But today kind of changed my opinion a little bit.
Hmm.
There's still chances that it's probably a pretty big chance that it's gonna just reverse course on Monday.
Hmm.
But I don't know. Beginning of this week, I thought you'd see bigger names like Morgan Stanley end up going under. I thought Truist was a goner for sure. The way it was
Hmm.
dipping,
Hmm.
like it went down from like $30 to 25 in like an hour or something. I was like,
Wow, yeah,
that's it.
that's just
Yeah.
insane.
But yeah, I don't know. I bought puts against Morgan Stanley that expire week after next.
Gotcha.
Just to like at like $50 because I figured it's gonna keep going
Mhm.
down. We'll see this week if that was a good investment. It was like a cent. It was like 1 penny per
Just
share.
a
So I like,
YOLO option type of thing.
yeah, spent $10, could profit like 20 grand if it goes under.
All
We'll
right. I
see.
mean, if
I
that
mean,
works,
fuck
it
it,
works,
right?
right?
Yeah. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I was thinking that it was just gonna keep going. I don't know what
Mhm.
exactly stopped or like reversed course today. I don't know what happened. I was
Mhm.
looking through the news. I couldn't find anything. I guess it
Mhm.
was the fact that Western Alliance wasn't actually looking for a sell
Mhm. Yeah,
or
it's.
like a buyer. I don't know. It's weird.
I feel like it's just all fugazi. It's just some
Yeah.
algorithms, and
Hmm.
also, somebody has their hand in the cookie jar. Kind of what we were talking about before, like have the media outlets write whatever story. Like I don't know.
Hmm.
It's kind of like we were saying before. I feel like it's all very just difficult to really know what's happening, because I feel like stock price doesn't always, reflect the true value of the stock. But
Yeah.
definitely, what we were saying before was accurate. Where it's like it's definitely the sentiment, or just what people are thinking could definitely affect it. Because look at like WAL, just the rumor alone was
Hmm.
enough to like tank it 50%. And what was it, like an hour or something insane?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
like that's just crazy. So yeah, just the talk of it alone. And quick shout out to Morant. What up? Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate you, man. It's my boy, big
Welcome
homie.
in.
He's the biggest of homies. But yeah, it's truly unprecedented we're going through right now, and I feel like I've maybe repeated that a little bit here, and like I've been starting to say that a lot.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah.
really feel like with my YouTube channel and like just talking about money and finance, like I'm documenting like a
Yeah.
time period where people look back and be like, "Wow, what
That's
was
what I
going
think
on at
too.
that time?" Yeah, so like people maybe be like, "Oh, what were they talking about in that moment?" And I just want the best, but like at the same time, like I fear the worst.
Yeah.
So,
But maybe the best will come after the worst. Like
mhm,
if the truly the worst case scenario happens, and um actually, okay, so the people have been talking about like two different scenarios been going around,
mhm,
um where it's like either all these regional banks are going to go under and get consolidated by the few of the big ones, right? Like that's gonna
mhm,
that's like one of the theories that just it'll just be the big banks that control everything, or
mhm,
everything is going to collapse and the big banks are going to go under and then the Fed is going to go under. And that's like those are the two scenarios.
mhm,
And then like, well, in the second scenario, regional banks survive because the other ones have failed. It's but I feel like the worst case scenario
mhm,
is like the regional banks going under and the big banks surviving. I feel like we'd be way better off if all the big banks went under rather
mhm,
than all the regional ones. I feel like that. I mean, once those big players are gone, then the pretty much institutionalized corruption in our economy will also
mhm,
go under. So I feel like if the opposite, I think the opposite's
mhm.
like the worst case scenario where they survive.
I see. Yeah, no, that's definitely an interesting perspective, because that's a good point where it's like that control then is almost like it's all
Decentralized.
yeah,
Yeah.
spread around. But I just like the only unfortunate thing about that, it'd just be so difficult. I mean,
Oh yeah.
I feel like there's just so many more deposits, just more pull, more influence. And I feel like if a giant name was about to go down, another giant name is just gonna give them a bunch of money.
Mm.
So unfortunately, I feel like it might be the other way, but I feel like regardless, it's pretty crazy. If you look at I saw a stat, the amount of banks like 100 years ago compared to now is down like overall like 80%, which is kind of crazy. If you look at
Yeah.
any other type of business, there's way more of anything than there was like 100 years ago. So
Yeah.
that's pretty wild.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, it money starts to lose meaning when you talk about, like, because you talked about how if like JP Morgan goes under, then
Hmm.
Citigroup will give them the money to
Hmm.
stay afloat. But it's like at that point, it's like the amount of money that it would be required to keep JP Morgan alive if it were to go under. Like, nobody has that amount. Like that is
That's a good
just, it
point.
loses meaning. Like, money at that point just doesn't have meaning, and it's kind of just like trying to keep like the power alive. But I think if there was a
Hmm.
force strong enough to have JP Morgan go under, then like I don't think any of them are going to survive at that point.
Hmm. That's definitely a valid point. And some people do theorize, like, I don't know if it goes this far, but with GameStop, and everything underlying potentially in terms of short interest and what it would cost to truly cover it when everything unfolds, like, the most insane scenarios, it's like if GameStop was that made it not cost, that would theoretically like collapse everything. And what's crazy to me is people wrote about that theory like years ago now, like
Hmm.
2021, and now it's kind of like, wow, everything they're saying is kind of happening. Is GameStop really shorted that much underlying? I mean, I really
That
try
would
and
be
focus.
crazy.
It
That
would
would be
be.
crazy if GameStop caused this. Like,
Some say, yeah,
that
and
would
it
be
would
fucking
be.
crazy.
And then the narrative will be, look what the GameStop investors did. It was their fault. And to me,
Hmm.
that's insane. And I mean, I
Yeah.
do think though there is like personal thoughts and opinions only. I do think there's underlying short interest that's not present based on reporting with GameStop stock. But I
Hmm.
really like moved away from that over time. Like if you look at my video titles and just how I talk, like I used the term MOAS previously, now I don't really. Mostly because to me, like MOAS is mother of all short squeezes, right? But everyone's definition of that is different. And I've really just focused on the company over time, and I really believe in what they're doing and like the fundamentals improving. So naturally, if they're just driving forwards and deliver shareholder value in the future, like issuing dividends, buying back shares, enter the S&P 500, make acquisitions, all those types of things. Regardless, if if anybody's betting against them, they're going to start getting like really burned, right? So naturally, anybody betting against the company, any like suppressed short interest, so to speak, would just bubble to the surface. So that's why I really stopped even thinking about it that much. But if it did bubble to the surface, I would be like, holy shit, this is what everyone's been talking about, or wrote due diligence on a while back, and it went into the whole world. Yeah, it is like holy shit, GameStop just
Yeah.
destroyed everything. Like,
I
you
mean,
know what I mean?
it's if you try to think about it, like looking from the future back, it's you could find a number of different points that you could be like, this is where it started to go under. And it's like you could
Mhm,
say it was,
definitely
2008 was like the first
hiccup,
little,
so to
like
speak.
hiccup. Yeah, and then it starts like it depending on how bad things get, you could see the Great Recession as
Mhm.
a hiccup, which is horrifying to think
Yeah.
about. If
Yeah,
that's a
exactly,
hiccup,
yeah.
holy fuck.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
I don't know why I described it like that, but
no, but I mean, it could be, right? Like, I don't know
that's
how
yeah.
bad things are going to get. And then you could say like COVID, and then like this all started with COVID, or you could say GameStop, like a
Mhm,
number of different things, depending on how big this thing gets.
mhm.
Um, it's a little scary when you think about it like that.
Yeah, and then how everybody's just tied together, like, everything we're talking about, I feel like how
Yeah.
it can kind of all happen and how First Republic can get bailed out by 11 banks within, like,
Hmm.
24 hours is
And then
they're
still
all
go
just
under.
texts, like, they're all just in touch. Yeah, exactly, it's still go under. You know what's
Hmm.
crazy too? I looked at their deposits, Q4. So as of the end of last year for First Republic, they had about $170 billion of deposits. As of the end of Q1, which was as of the end of March, so like right after everything happened, a couple weeks after that, with Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, everyone started pulling deposits, right? The bank run period.
Hmm.
Their deposits after the 30 billion injection was only 100 billion. So that means really they went from 170 billion to only 70 billion in deposits, but then they had
Yeah.
that 30 billion. And then
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
there people were still pulling, which just
Hmm.
is insane. And it's like no bank is going to survive if they ever have 50+% of their deposits full. It's just simply not going to happen in the fractional reserve
Yeah.
system. Like,
Yeah. I mean that kind of I don't it makes you wonder who had their money in First Republic.
hmm
Like I don't really understand like the social contagion of what happened with Silicon Valley and like
hmm
why like that went under. But I don't see how that had a direct connection to how First Republic went under. Like some
hmm
people saw that happening, but then it's like how did that cause people to pull their money out of First Republic? Were these the same people who had their money in Silicon Valley? They just had like another amount in First Republic. Like, what was the situation? Like, who were the players that were making that happen? Because it wasn't individual retail,
hmm
people. It was these had to be like big players.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, and that's definitely a great question slash point. I think is a lot of like businesses I would say that had maybe their business account there. For example, if it's like the company I work for, they have an account probably for specifically payroll. That account alone has probably got
Yeah.
like millions of dollars. And
Hmm.
my perspective on it is I think seeing what happened with um totally blanking on the name, Valley Bank, Silicon Valley Bank
Yeah.
and Signature Bank back to back like that, and everyone's talking like, "Oh, who's next? Who's next?" They're like, "Oh, all." I think just the talk of it really like
Yeah.
amplified it, and any business maybe that was at original regional bank was like, "Well, look how quickly that just happened. We
Yeah.
better
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
out of our regional bank because look, nobody saw that coming. That just happened like that, and we can't afford to
Hmm.
have that for our employees." And I remember even things like U.S. dollar coin. I don't know if you remember, you saw that
Yeah.
dropping
Yeah. It went
at the
under.
time.
It was worth less
Yeah,
than $1, which is weird.
that was the first time ever I've seen a stable coin regain its peg to $1, which I thought was like incredible. But I did look into it because I've been like trying to understand all these like weird things that happen. But
Hmm.
basically, how they back their U.S. dollar coin is it's equivalent to they have enough like they have it 1 to 1, but it's cash and cash equivalents, which by definition means cash is like pure cash like in a bank account. Cash equivalent is like a CD or a treasury note dated 90 days out or less. So
Yeah. Yeah.
theoretically they could liquidate them for almost their face value if they really have to on the spot. But the problem was US dollar coin had about 25% of their money in Silicon Valley Bank. So of
Oh wow.
cash, CDs, and T notes. So it's like, wait a minute, that's like 25% of everything. So if everyone starts pulling out, but if they had like 75%, then they probably, I guess, just I don't know what would have happened, But that was kind of like
Yeah.
but that's why when FDIC was like, nah, you're good. Nobody's gonna miss out on anything. Then US
Hmm.
dollar coin was like, oh, okay, regain the peg, which I was shocked because I've never seen, like, if you remember
Yeah.
Luna or some of these other names that have just gone kaput, like gone, they've
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
come back to be stable coins. So
Yeah. I mean that. Yeah. Stable coins, kind of
mhm.
air quotes around stable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Not so stable.
but yeah, exactly. I kind of okay. So I kind of wonder when this is getting into conspiracy territory, but
Mhm,
when it comes to something like First Republic, right? They went under and then they were bought by J.P. Morgan for pretty good profit on J.P. Morgan's part.
mhm,
Um, Now, look, I don't. And J.P. Morgan's a really big bank. They have a lot of connections, right?
mhm.
Who's to say that they didn't
Allegedly.
inform?
Mm.
Right. Sorry, not financial advice. No, but
Nah,
who's
you're
to
good.
say they didn't inform? Hey, company that has your account here, why don't you just pull out your money so that and then it's like
Mhm,
some backdoor deal. You can get a cut of the profit from us
mhm,
purchasing this bank as it goes under. And then like that's how they could just eat up regional
mhm,
banks by having plants in the banks, having a large amount of money there, and then
mhm.
pulling it out and triggering a bank run. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, shit,
I
I
wouldn't
don't
rule it
know.
out. I mean, yeah,
It's
exactly. You don't know
possible.
the people. It's not. I wouldn't
There's
say it's impossible. Yeah.
there's nothing to stop it from happening. So who's to say it
Mhm.
hasn't already?
That's a very valid point. There's nothing to stop it from happening. That's exactly right. And you'd also think like, well, maybe those banks that put the money in, they already kind of knew what happened or was bound to happen. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
who knows?
it's very crazy because there's so many strings attached, and not only are the strings attached, the strings are like intertwined and cut and then moved. You know what I mean? It's just the biggest like mess ever. That's what's so fascinating to me about the banking system as a whole. I remember even like when I first started learning like econ in like high school, it was like whatever they called it. Like I don't know if they called it for your high school or like it's just like where I live. It's like AP
Yeah, yeah.
econ. Like so it was like if you took micro and macro, if you passed like the official high school test, you didn't have to take it in college. So I was like, oh, okay, bet. I don't want to have to do as many classes. So sure. And I was learning it and I was like, damn, this shit's like crazy. And like, how is it? It's like this Phillips curve thing. And I'm trying to think of the other random stuff. But I just remember thinking like, wow, this is just a giant pyramid scheme, basically, or not like pyramid scheme, mostly
Yeah.
like just everything is intertwined. And I remember when I started reading into stocks too, and then I'm like, how does BlackRock and Vanguard invest in everything? It doesn't make sense. And I'm like, oh wait,
Hmm.
it's like when you start putting all that together, it's like this is how things work, and it fascinates me that like 99.99% of people don't even know who I feel like. I mean, I guess they know BlackRock, but they don't really
Yeah.
understand like what's really going on, if that makes sense, and how
Yep.
everything really is
I might
so
be preaching
fragile
to
and
the
time.
choir. Might be preaching to the choir, but
Mhm,
ESG is a scheme for BlackRock to control the global
mhm.
economy.
Yeah, I remember you
That
saying
is
that
it.
last time a little bit. Yeah.
It is so bad. My
Mhm.
God. It's crazy. What do they control? Like $30 trillion in assets or something like that?
Something nuts. Yeah, something insane.
It's insane. Yep.
A And Vanguard's also huge, and
Yeah,
the
and they
reason
own Vanguard.
they own Vanguard too? Damn, I didn't even
Yeah,
realize
yeah.
that. Holy crap, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Damn,
And
I didn't even
it's
realize
just
that.
like, that, and BlackRock and Vanguard control such a huge portion of the economy. They're invested at,
Mhm.
like, they have majority stakes in so many companies.
Even
It's
GameStop. Well, not majority,
that's
but a good chunk.
yeah, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, no, you're good. That's really all I was gonna say. Um, but it just it just blows my mind, all of it. That's really all I was kinda getting at, that there is no like valid solution, or kind of like you were saying before, like you could look back at a lot of different points. Oh, like this is where it started, or oh, this is where the
Hmm.
real problem began. At what point do we even like try, and not that we even can, very simply, like what is even the standard of how it should be, because the whole thing has always been like a giant tangled mess. I guess that's where I was kind of
Exactly.
going with it. And I even remember
Exactly.
my high school econ teacher, he's like, what happened in 2008 like really never got fixed. And I was, what was that, like 2017, you saying that? And I was like, but how? Everything's been, I remember thinking to myself, like S&P, everything's been going up since then. Like everything's
Hmm.
so much higher. And I was like, oh, he probably just means like we're due for a recession, I guess. But now I'm like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. Like
Hmm.
pretty crazy.
Yeah, never was fixed.
Yeah.
Um, I think that the standard for how the economy should run probably goes back to, like, before Woodrow Wilson, like before he
Mhm.
established the Federal Reserve. That is
Mhm.
probably how it should be. Of course, nobody is alive nowadays to talk about how, how it was without
Yeah,
the
how
Fed.
was it that time?
Yeah. Um, but, or maybe before FDR, I don't know. Like,
Mhm.
back before these massive changes to the way that the banking industry was operating, like the 1920s. I don't know. Those seemed like pretty good times. I don't know for the economy, the
Yeah.
Roaring Twenties.
Yeah, the Roaring Twenties. I've been hoping, this, don't they say the start of the Roaring Twenties was like bad, like nothing was good, like in these first few years. So maybe
I
we
mean,
just need to
shit.
get to the second half of the 20s, and then it'll be the Roaring
Yeah,
Twenties again. Maybe that's what we need.
fingers crossed.
That would be great.
Gr- Great Depression Part Two, maybe, and then the 30s will be the Roaring 30s. I don't know.
Shit, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Well, don't worry. They'll just shift the definition of depression, and
They'll just
recession. They'll
change
just,
it. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I mean, what we're supposed to be in a recession right now because of what, 3 straight quarters of negative growth, but we
yeah,
just changed the definition. It doesn't matter.
yeah. Oh, not no, canceled. Not
Yeah,
happening.
yeah. As long as we say it's not a recession, then it isn't.
And we're all good. Yeah, all is
Yeah.
no
Yep.
problem. Hands are
Exactly.
clean.
Same logic behind printing more money.
Yeah, it's so crazy because I remember as it was happening, I was like, "This is gonna cause inflation." I remember saying that to people, or just saying to myself, "I'm like, getting the
Hmm.
stimulus check, it's all great and all, but it's gonna cause inflation." And at the time, I thought, all right, whatever, things are gonna get more expensive, and like it started happening, and I was like, all right, it's kind
Mhm.
of we knew it was gonna happen. But now I'm like, oh, this is like still something like still what we did then is still really like hitting us now. That's what I'm really
Mhm.
starting to recognize at this point too, where it's like also with a high interest rate environment, then the interest is just so expensive on
Mhm.
government debt, and it's just like as
Yeah.
the I don't hate to keep saying this, but like there's like no way out, like essentially, because that's what kind of proving bullshit is like either like you raise rates or you don't, or you cut rates, and whatever you do at this given point in time you've come to in the road, neither is going to be good. Like neither is really a good solution.
Yeah, but don't worry, the government will pass another Inflation Reduction Act.
Yeah,
Yeah, it'll work. They'll just spend
it'll
30
save it,
trillion
no
more
problem.
dollars
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it'll
spend money to
somehow
reduce
reduce.
inflation. Yeah,
Yeah. I don't even understand how somebody could see the Inflation Reduction Act and still vote for the people who wanted it. Like how?
yeah,
Like you see it's a 30 trillion dollar
it's
bill. It's
nuts.
like 7,000 pages long. And then Joe Manchin was like, "Oh, I didn't know this was going to happen. I voted for it. I had no idea they were going to increase inflation." It's like how? How? Like how do you expect to
No,
afford a
and it,
30 trillion dollar bill? Like it's
yeah,
so stupid.
and
It's
then it's
so
also
dumb.
like these are the people running. These are people making the
Yeah.
decisions. Ones that are, oops, my bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I didn't know.
Fuck, I whoops. Yeah, looks
Who
like
told
you
me? Nobody told me.
yeah,
My master didn't mention it. Like yeah,
yeah,
it's like that's the most
exactly.
alarming part to me. That it just seems like like definitely not just the United States. So many just incompetent leaders right now, and
Oh, yeah.
everybody's older generally. And everyone's says, oh, put someone younger in there, but who? There's no like just perfect answer. I mean, I'm sure there's
Mhm.
options, but you know what I mean. It's such a uh like twist to things. Like there's just so much happening at once, and so many things that need fixing. It's like where do you even start? Who do you even replace? How do you even get them out in some city? Like oh, it's
Yeah.
and also yeah, it's like we can only do so much as individuals. So you just try and like maneuver, I guess.
Yeah, when it comes to, like, age limits on being in power, I like to my stance on it is anybody should be able
Hmm.
to be in office. It's kinda like what the whole republic thing is about.
Hmm.
Anybody has the right to if you're, like, 90 years old and you think you can change things for the better, you should have a chance to do that. But, like, I don't know, I think that the issue is we don't have any young people who are running. It's all just these old
Hmm.
people, these old incumbents. Maybe, when it comes to the representatives, maybe they're or even the senators, maybe they're rigging their primaries. Who knows?
Hmm.
Because I mean, when it comes
Yeah.
to people like
Who
Mitch
knows?
McConnell, nobody
Mhm.
likes him, but for some reason he keeps winning the primary, and
Yeah,
it's like,
it is pretty
yeah,
crazy.
and it's yeah, I don't know, it's weird. So I'm in Florida, obviously, and
Yeah.
and Marco Rubio is the senator, and um, nobody really likes him. Um, he got a Trump endorsement for his reelection because he was the Republican running, but I mean, like,
Mhm,
I didn't even. So I didn't have my voting registration sorted out because I mean I moved down here to Miami and
mhm,
my registration wasn't sorted out in time to vote in the primary. But from what I understand, he won the primary pretty handily, which is kind of weird because nobody likes him.
mhm, mhm,
Um, and it's like I don't understand how this keeps happening. It's either
mhm,
people just vote for the incumbent because they're scared of a new person, or the establishment is just rigging the primaries so they can keep these people who are
mhm.
lucrative in charge. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
no,
it's
it's
it's weird.
yeah, and I would say, some people would say like, "Oh, that's crazy. That could never be happening." But I say there's like fake videos of people like that you think
Hmm.
is them. Like any
Yeah.
like it is like how do you even know what to believe these days? So I
Hmm.
don't rule out anything. I question everything because
Yeah.
I feel like there's just so like even a video now can be faked like and it's only going to get better, so there's just so much it's hard to trust anything for me, honestly. That's
Yeah.
kind of my viewpoint. It's hard to trust anything, and like I don't want to be like thinking the worst, but I'm like you just don't know, you just don't know, right? And I think a lot of people just in general are just kind of like what is going on, and at what point do you decide like okay, this is like too much or not? individuals, but just what as a whole, where people are like, okay, something is not right here.
Yeah.
And
I don't. It's it. A, how do I go about this? I'm trying to phrase this properly.
no, you're good. Take your time. I'm chilling.
Yeah. So, for when it comes to like assuming the worst, a good rule of
Mhm.
thumb is if the interests are converging, right? If these, like, if for example, like the banks and the government have the same goal,
Mhm.
and there's nothing stopping them from working together, or there's nothing stopping, like, if they have the same interest and there are things that are allowing them to work together, then that's what's happening, right?
Mhm.
So, like, if there are converging interests and there is nothing stopping them from, converging, then they're definitely working together. Like,
Mhm.
that's what people see that, though, and they just assume, oh, that couldn't happen. It's just not
Yeah, it's like,
possible for that
nah,
to
nah.
happen. Yeah. Oh, the pharmaceutical industry and the FDA couldn't be working together. Like, oh, the pharmaceutical industry,
Mhm.
this company wants to have its drug approved by the FDA, and the FDA is charging a fee to get your application submitted. So, the FDA wants to make money, and this thing wants to get its drug approved. They're not
Mhm.
just going to use it as like a bribe to get their drug approved. No, that couldn't happen. Oh
No
no, people are
way.
too
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it's like, fuck off. That happens all the time, and
Yeah.
people just need
It's
to kind of like, get some sense slapped into them and see that that happens all the time when there's converging interest. It's
mhm.
not like some big, cabal where they all sit in a room and decide how they want to ruin our lives. It's like
Mhm.
they just
It's the
have the
interest.
same
Yeah, yeah.
interests,
No, that makes
and
sense. Yeah,
that's
and it just
yeah.
naturally you start doing it
Hmm.
a little, or maybe you see like one
Yeah.
person, you're like, hey, nobody saw that.
Hmm.
Why don't we just do that too? Right? I think that kind of
Yeah.
stuff starts to happen too, and then
Exactly.
yeah, it's crazy. And bringing up like that FDA thing, I don't know if this is exactly FDA, but something weird someone told me about recently, and I was like, what? If you look on like your Mayo, like I don't know why this is the example I got, but
I'm gonna
I'm
get
sure
my
it's
mayonnaise now. Hold on.
I'm curious. Yes, let's see. I didn't expect him to actually go grab his mayo, but let's see if it's on there live here. It was on mine, so I'll say that. I'll quickly
All
say
right.
shout out to the chat. Dope Show, thank you for being here. The Pac-Man 123, thank you for being here. Jimmy to 30 next week. Maybe. I don't know about that.
Oh,
That would
dude,
be quite the jump, but
earnings report on
yeah, sooner
31st. Who's
yeah,
excited?
sooner than later. And then Wendy, thank you for being here. What up? But okay, so where you see ingredients on there? Is it Hellman's? Okay, perfect. Mine
Hellman's.
was too. Under ingredients, it says like very tiny product, like bioengineered by something, and it's like a sus name if you look into it.
Where about
Bioengineered ingredients or something like that.
ingredients? I see soybean oil.
I'd have to. I'm
Let's
gonna try
see.
and look because I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm gonna grab my mayo too. Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right, I'll entertain. Hello everybody. Hello chat. Um, who's excited for earnings report? Who's gonna buy calls? Um, I'm not, because um I'm just gonna buy more stock. I currently hold, by the way, so this is an update from last time. Last time I was on, I didn't own any GameStop. And that's changed. I now own 8 shares of GameStop. I want to let everybody know
Hey,
I do hold 8 shares. Last time I think I was on, I didn't have any. Now I do.
nice.
Um, and I might get roasted for this, but for options trading, I do use Robinhood. Okay, sue
Mhm.
me. It's just the easiest
Get
way.
him.
Just be in class and use. Look, man. All right. I have Fidelity. I use Fidelity, but I options trade on Robinhood.
Nah, I
All
don't
right.
blame you. I hear you.
It's just easy. All right.
No,
Anyway.
you're good. All right, yeah. So back to the mayo. I gotta find this. Okay. So you see where it says ingredients, and then
Yes.
on the bottom, the last one it says like contains egg.
Yeah.
So under that,
Oh, but ingredients from a bioengineered source.
yes, Unilever ingredients
Yeah.
delivered from a bioengineered source. So to
Yeah.
me, that's like, oh, the ingredients are like Bill Gates eggs, like
Oh,
fit.
gross. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, oh my god, and then I'm like, I have to like, what other foods is and like, how do you even buy food these days? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Hmm.
all these like weird things, and like, how long has it really said that? I don't know. What does that exactly mean? I don't really know.
Yeah.
But what is
And then you see this other stuff, calcium disodium, EDTA.
Mhm.
used to protect quality. Like, what does that even mean? And then why
Yeah.
is soybean oil in here? Like, why? Seed oils aren't good.
Yeah, that's
Why is
weird.
the first ingredient soybean oil?
Yeah.
You
I
know,
have to go
I
on the
mean,
website,
correct me if
learnaboutmyfood.com.
I'm wrong. Yeah, right. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when they first started making mayonnaise in
Mhm. And our
1913, I
mayos.
don't think. Oh hell yeah, Hellman's.
Dude, we're matched
Uh,
right here.
when
That's
they
funny.
started in 1913, I don't think they were using soybean oil.
I don't
I
think so
don't think
either.
that's what they were doing.
Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for this on more things just out of curiosity, but yeah, I gotta flex the
Yeah.
mayo. Here we are. They say,
Someone take a picture, screenshot
yeah,
of the
screenshot
Hellman's
for
game.
later. Yeah, there we go.
Something
Some,
something Ken Griffin. I don't know.
yeah, exactly. I was gonna say people always make joke. I don't even know how that started. They're like, "Oh,
I
he
don't
loves
either.
mayo." It's the most random shit ever, but
Yeah.
somebody can meme it now, and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Fuck
yo, they
it.
were talking about it."
Yeah. I'm gonna put this
It's
back in my fridge.
yeah. Where I'm gonna do this. Well, I'll after you come back, then I'll go to keep it rocking and rolling. But yeah, guys, it's a lot of crazy stuff out there, and just yeah, that's all, that's all I can say about that. I mean, look
Yeah.
at even Mayo's got crazy stuff. Cinco de Mayo, LOL.
Oh
Wendy,
yeah,
that's true.
it is
Yeah,
Cinco de
Cinco
Mayo.
de Mayo. All right.
Yeah, I
I was,
celebrated today. I had Chipotle, so
oh,
I
nice,
yeah for
nice,
lunch.
nice. Quite celebratory. I'm gonna put this back
Yeah.
real quick too, so it doesn't go bad.
All right, Wendy, how are you celebrating Cinco de Mayo? I might be going out tonight. Who knows? Not a whole lot of Mexican places down here in Miami. A lot of Cuban places. Not a lot of places to celebrate Cinco de Mayo. Unfortunately, that's why I had Chipotle. But hey, maybe I'll be going out. Who knows? But it is Cinco de Mayo, the 5th of May. How are you celebrating Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna hang out with some friends and just watch hockey because I'm a Devils fan, so I'm watching that game. I didn't even realize it was Cinco de
Gotcha.
Mayo, but they're like, "Oh, we should do something after." I'm like, as long as we're watching the game first, well, I'll
Yeah.
see what happens after. Then I guess I'll do something. So,
Yeah. I mean, might
but
as
yeah,
well, right?
yeah, shit. All right, it's party day. So,
Yep. Went to a Mexican restaurant and a few shots of tequila.
hey, hold up,
That's
Wendy? You know the
nice.
vibes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Good vibes right there. Do you have any plans?
Yeah. I've got I had Chipotle, obviously. So
There you go.
I had that and I have some Kahlua here, which is from Mexico.
Nice.
Coffee and rum. So who knows? Maybe maybe we'll have some of that. I don't know. I have exams to study for that are Monday and Tuesday. So like that's what's going to be tomorrow and Sunday. It's going to be a lot of
Gotcha.
that, but so tonight maybe I'll let loose. Maybe I'm going
Little
out.
relax.
There's not
Nice.
really a whole lot of places to go out in Miami for Mexican. A
Hmm.
lot of Cuban places, not a whole lot of Mexican places, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of partying in Brickell
Hmm.
downtown. So
Yeah, exactly.
we'll check that out. Yeah,
Nice.
why
Yeah,
not?
wherever I go, probably won't even be a Mexican place, to be honest. Probably just be like
Yeah,
random ass bar. So,
yeah, right.
but all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, any other general thoughts about economy, banks,
Right.
things going on right
Um,
now?
I'm gonna take a look. I had some things that I was going to
Hmm.
talk about that I wanted to talk about.
Very good. Yeah, let me
Um,
look back too.
yes.
Oh, one thing I just saw actually, like literally as we were about to start, it was on like the Amazon thing, which gives you headlines.
Yeah.
I saw that FDIC is now trying to charge the big banks, but I don't. They're trying to give them some kind of fee. I didn't really see the details, but I'm like, how would that work? How are you gonna provide a
Oh, yeah. Okay. No, sorry. Go ahead. I had
No,
something.
no,
I
I don't know
just
anything
reminded
else
me.
besides that headline. That's all I know. So go ahead.
Well, when we're talking about fees, what's the deal with the whole fucking credit score? You have to pay money if you have a higher
Oh,
credit score. What the fuck is that about?
I'm about to open a
Punishing
million
people
credit
with
cards now.
yeah, fuck it. Why not? Like,
I mean,
why?
I should
Why do
damage
you
it
have
on
to pay
purpose.
a tax if you have higher than like a 700 credit score? You have to pay
I think you pay
additional
more
taxes.
or something.
Yeah,
I
like
think that
more than
tax,
somebody who has
like,
a 600.
yeah, a less like your mortgage wouldn't be as good, and it's like
Yeah,
what?
like why? Like why are they
Yeah,
doing that? There's no reason given as to why that they're
it's
doing that.
nuts. Yeah, it's
To
like
protect,
affordable
like,
housing push.
yeah,
Like,
fuck off. Like,
yeah,
just
give me a
punish people
break.
with good credit scores,
Yeah,
encourage
why should I
people to
work
do
hard
bad
then? Yeah,
behavior.
It's
Like,
crazy. Yeah, it's
I can't
nuts.
imagine that credit card companies like that. Like,
Oh,
I
no
can't
way. Yeah.
imagine that they would want people to be encouraged to have
Mhm.
bad credit.
What about
Like,
mortgage companies? They're probably like, "What the fuck? We have to
exactly.
give them a better rate? That's not good
Yeah,
business." Like,
and banks and shit, like, who supported this bill?
mhm,
Who gains from this? That's the real question. Who's gaining from
mhm.
this?
But you know what's also even crazier? I mean, not blah, blah, I
Yeah.
didn't say it the right way, but it's still relevant.
Yeah.
United Wholesale Mortgage, their stock is at a 52-week high right now. It doesn't move that much. It's UWMC.
I'm gonna take a look.
It's pretty small name, but if you pull it up, it's like, why is it pushing to a 52-week high right now on this? But I mean, like the mortgage business. I'm really not that familiar. I have very limited knowledge there, so
Mhm.
I would imagine it's something to do with the interest rates. That's why it's benefiting them. But I have a little bit of like UWMC in my mom's IRA. I thought it was like a decent investment. I was buying kind of on that little fall going into 2022, like the 6 to the 4,
Yeah, I'm looking at it
a
right
little bit
now.
before that. Because the big thing with it for me is the dividend. It has a 10-cent per quarter dividend. So that's 40 cents a year. And when it was at $4, you're looking at United Wholesale Mortgage, a huge name that I don't think is going
Mhm.
anywhere, with a 10% dividend yield. So I was adding for my mom like as high as $8 down to 4. So now I'm happy it's like moving a little bit. I don't own it like personally, or like I might have a little bit in IRA from like a long time ago, but
Yeah.
it's just
Well,
interesting. It's like
and
I wonder if that has to do with that in any way, you think? But wouldn't they be like negatively affected?
I don't know. Next Wednesday they're posting their earnings from quarter one, so
Keep an eye
I
on
don't know.
that. You'll take a
We'll
look.
see. We'll see. Yeah, it's interesting. I've never heard of this before, but they
Hmm.
seem to be moving. Yeah, they seem to be moving up.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's interesting.
They went public by SPAC, which is usually not that good. But if you look into like United Wholesale Mortgage, they've been around for a really long time. Um,
1986. Yeah.
yeah, the guy who's running it is the son of the founder, I believe. So he's pretty much worked there since he's been old enough to work, and he's like
Mhm.
a really high energetic guy. Like he was a big part of why I put shares in my mom's portfolio, and also to clarify, and of course, no financial advice. And I have like my mom when I do her portfolio and I hand pick stocks, like what stocks like compared to the mutual funds is so minuscule. So if I'm not making a good decision, the mutual funds are really moving to the account. So if mommy ever
Mhm.
watching this one day, or or anybody is thinking,
Yeah.
yo, what are you just doing? You just said you don't know that much about the mortgage business,
Yeah.
and you're putting your mom's IRA and your WMC. That's not what I'm saying. So I wanted to quickly clarify that. And Scott Pollan, thank you for being here. And I think you're right. GME dividends in a few years. I do think down the line, dividends is going to be something that they look at in terms of delivering shareholder value. Because to me, why would I want to sell a stock if I know I'm going to get a dividend and I see the company keep growing? So I think once they really start to accelerate growth, a dividend is another like avenue they'll go. I also think it'd be crazy too, maybe if they did a special dividend one day, to go on a little
Mhm.
tangent here, because they have at this point $1.4 billion in cash. I think by next quarter, they're going to have probably 1.6, 1.7. I mean, that's a total random number out there, but I think it's going to be positive free cash flow. So that would put so it would put total cash even higher. And if they have about 300 million approximately outstanding shares right now, a one-time special dividend of $1 would only cost them 300 million when they'd still have a billion plus at that point. Although I don't think that's the best use of their cash this moment in time. Just theoretically, if they wanted to do something like that, they could, which I just think is kind of a cool perspective and why cash is like really important for businesses right now. Want to see them hold 1 billion in cash for at least a year when they have free cash flow positive. Yeah, I think that's definitely valid. Whether they're just operating really smoothly, making sure they're making good money and they have cash to fall back on for any unforeseen circumstances, anything at all, and to just really make sure they've solidified their business where they're at in the transformation.
Um,
Exactly, Scott. Agreed.
I think I'm gonna
Well,
buy. I think I'm gonna put more money into GameStop. Leading up to the earnings report.
nice.
I'm thinking. I don't know. I'm
Mhm.
not financial advice. Do we have to state that every time we say something?
No, you're good. I kind of just say it like jokingly because in the beginning, a lot of people are
Yeah.
like, "Wow, you say that a lot." Because when I started, I was like, "I don't know the rules.
I don't
I
want
have
to
to
get
say it
sued.
just in case." Yeah, I was like,
Yeah,
"I don't
I want to
fucking
get
know."
sued.
Like, because also
Oh,
start out, I'm like, I have barely an idea. I mean, I know what I'm talking about,
yeah.
but also I'm not like YouTube caliber, especially starting out. So
Hmm.
I'd always be like, "Oh, I got to protect
Hey,
myself."
at least you're better than Kramer. You can't be worse. All
I'll
right,
take that.
it's
Thank you. And
impossible.
this guy met Kramer. He talked to him.
Yeah,
If you
I
didn't
met
know.
him. I have a Mad Money beach ball. I have a lot of Mad Money merch.
Mad Money
Or
merch.
I got to meet Kramer. I took a picture with him. I love that guy.
Dude.
High energy. No,
Oh,
I don't.
I love that stock.
Yeah. That sounded just like him. Holy shit.
Oh my god, yeah. That came out way better than I imagined, honestly.
Dude, I had a flashback, bro. I felt like I was on stage talking to him again.
Let's
Holy.
go. I'll take that. And yo, what up, Xfit? Thank you for being here. Quick hello. Big
Yeah,
homie in the chat.
someone's got to clip that.
Yeah.
Um,
That's funny.
the
Oh my God.
mannerisms and everything. Anyway,
Yeah.
right. So as I was saying, I think I'm going to buy a little bit. Not financial advice, but I think this earnings report is probably going to be pretty good for them.
Mhm.
Especially with their new store they opened up in Milan. That's pretty cool. I looked at that.
Mhm.
That looked pretty interesting. They got a bunch of other plans too for other locations in the States and stuff.
Mhm.
I think our earnings report at the end of the month is going to be pretty good. I think it's going to be
Yeah.
pretty good.
I think so too. I think again they're going to beat expectations. Part of what you said with the Milan Italy store, I think they're going to try and do more stores like that over time, but they're going to be very slowly but surely. They're also winding down operations, I believe, in Germany, Ireland, a couple other places in Europe, which on the surface might not sound like the greatest thing, but the reality
Mhm.
is some of those locations just simply the logistics aren't there for them to be profitable
Right.
at this moment in time.
I heard they're not renewing leases on a lot of their smaller locations. There are a lot of like one room locations where they just had like the games on the walls and stuff. They're shutting
Yeah.
down, or they're not shutting down. They're just not renewing their leases.
Yeah,
Which
that's what I'm
actually is going
starting
to
to
be
see too.
beneficial.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's going to save them money because those stores aren't really profitable.
Exactly.
But
And I think. Oh, go ahead. My
go
bad.
ahead. This is unrelated, but it's like something that was funny because some of these stores have stuck around for a while. The ones that are profitable. An example of this, I saw this TikTok where this guy was like, he got a phone call from GameStop. They were like, "Hey, 9 years ago, you did a pre-order for Dead Island 2, and it's finally released. So you put $5 down. Do you still want the game?" It was like,
That's fucking hilarious.
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, some of these stores have stuck around. It's funny.
That's great. That's legendary, honestly.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, with the leases, I think it was like 30-40% of them are about to, like, for this year, they have to be renewed or canceled, or they
Mhm.
have to make a decision on them. And like you
Right.
said, like, it's a lot of the smaller stores because I think they want to go more into this like superstore style, or I don't know if you
They
want to
kind of
call
be
it
like the Best
superstore.
Buy of like video games. They kind of want to have like the
Hmm.
what I looked at, I think there was a statement about this from the company. They want to do like VR arcades and stuff, which I think is pretty cool. They have that in the Milan store.
Yeah, they have a whole
like
like level dedicated to it,
yeah,
basically VR stuff,
I think
streaming events.
that's pretty cool. And this new
Y-
stuff with Facebook, the metaverse, like everybody was shitting
mhm,
on it, and I was too. But then
mhm,
they released that like screenshot of the realistic like Mark Zuckerberg thing.
mhm.
Like he
Oh,
had
I
like
didn't
a
even see
full
that yet. I gotta
scan.
look.
Shit's
Mhm,
crazy. I mean, Meta went up a huge amount because of that.
mhm.
So
Oh,
I think
damn.
there's definitely a future with VR. So like I think that
Mhm.
they're pretty much settled on that.
Yeah, and it's definitely something I think that brings more people in the store. Like it drives foot traffic
Yeah.
because you're like, oh, I will go
Yeah.
to GameStop to try it out. And then on top of it, like the other aspect of the Milan store, it's like board games and
Right.
kids items, collectibles. Generally speaking, those are like higher margin items. Now you could put those in the store a little bit more, and that helps, with
Yeah. Yeah.
covering cost and just all those different things that are slowly happening over time. And also, they had a customer care center in Florida that they're just finishing winding down, and that'll show up in cost cuts this quarter. It's basically just like online customer service. Like if you call in, just for like, oh, where's my order, or this or that, whatever. Pretty sure all those lines are just virtual now, or at the headquarters, something like that. So all those different things, I really think is going to affect the bottom line. So that's really what I'm looking at, like in the next upcoming earnings, the bottom line more than anything, and free cash
Oh
flow
yeah,
positive.
for sure.
And I think Scott also brings up a good point in the chat. Lots of opportunities to renegotiate for better rental rates.
Oh
Exactly,
yeah.
because you just okay, well, you don't want me? I'll go somewhere else. And I feel like it's a point right now where a lot of stores maybe aren't even going to renew, and GameStop is looking to renew in some scenarios. I mean, I don't, again, not my
Mhm.
primary expertise, but I think there'd definitely be an
I
opportunity.
mean, I can think of a retailer who, had a lot of square footage,
Yeah.
no longer is around, is
Yeah.
typically around where GameStops are located.
Yeah. Yep. I
I'm
can
not
think
going
of
to
one
mention
too.
names because I've been informed that it's not a popular topic here, but I made money off of it, so I'm happy.
I'm happy for you. Yeah. No, I remember
Yeah.
you told me you were trading it, and I was like, "Ooh, be
Oh
careful."
yeah.
I was like, "Oh, you're playing with
I
fire."
Yeah, so I bought in at like 23 cents a share, sold at 50 cents a share, and then shorted, or not shorted, but did put
Mhm.
orders against it. So like I
Nice.
made money off the squeeze and then off the fall.
Nice.
So look, I'm happy. Personally,
Yeah. No,
it's
you're
like
good.
fucking whatever. That's what got me into options. So,
It got you
you
hooked.
know.
Yeah. Nah, but I
Yep.
think definitely what you're doing like makes sense. Like you're like, yes, I was trading Bed Bath. You weren't getting in
Mhm.
like, yes, Bed Bath is about to
Yeah, no.
GameStop tomorrow,
No,
and
fuck
and
that.
they're gonna the company Ryan Cohen. Like, there's people out there who are saying, and it's like,
That
no,
this is the hardest cope ever. Oh
yeah,
my god.
it's
The
nuts.
Bed Bath and Beyond subreddit was comedy gold.
Yeah, they're
Oh
like,
my
oh, the
god.
merger's coming. Oh,
Yeah. Oh man.
actually, have you heard? There's this guy. You know Marantz does in the chat before, so like I'm big
Yes.
homies with him. He had the whole thing going with this guy Pee Seeds, and he ran this thing called the Pee Show, and it was a bunch of Bed Bath and Beyond shareholders he just have on there. I don't know if he's still doing it. I don't know, but they had all these
They don't
crazy
exist
things.
anymore because the
Probably,
company's gone. The
probably
company
not,
got
but
delisted last week.
yeah.
So
But now you
you
can
know.
trade it on the pink sheets. It's BBYQ.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
It's
but
the biggest cope ever. It is the biggest cope
yeah,
ever.
but it's hilarious because Morantz was like cooking them, or not like he was just spitting facts, right? He spit, and they just got so triggered by it, especially the main guy, PP
Yeah.
Seeds, that he blocked him. And all I did was go on like one of his videos, and I commented like, "Morantz lives in your head rent free." And
Oh
I checked
dude.
his Twitter next time, and I was blocked, and I was like, "Let's
Oh
go,
my
baby,
god.
badge of honor." So like,
Hell yeah.
it's just the whole thing, like, is just fucking
It's so
hilarious.
honestly like it's sad if like just going through some of the and okay, I had this experience on Wall. I was looking through Wall
Hmm.
Street Bets for FRC stuff, and then like this was after the Bed Bath and Beyond. But you see the same thing like with Bed Bath and Beyond, people going all in
Hmm.
on like, oh, I've just put another 10 grand of my life savings into Bed Bath and Beyond to the moon. It's like it's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
yeah, it's
It's it was that
it's
hurt to
nuts.
watch.
Yeah.
And then this was crazy. This was here. Let me see if I can find the post.
Hmm.
But I was it, dude. It was like the worst. Wall Street Bets is such a like a cesspool of people making horrible decisions.
It's so true.
This is. Let's see if you can you read that. This was 25
Not
days ago.
really.
I'm all in 5,000 shares of FRC at $13.40.
Crazy.
$13.94.
It's insane.
And that is so oh my god that was what let me see let me do the math on that one. Let me see how much money this guy lost
Oh, yeah, it's
because this was
nuts.
after it hit 16 and went back down.
That's crazy. The only hope could be is if he sold very quickly, but if you said all in to the moon, oof,
70 grand.
that's nuts. It's actually
70
nuts. I can't even
grand.
fathom that. Like, yeah,
That's the worst.
I'm not losing. I'm averaging down. Me
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
Scott. Exactly.
I'm so glad that I don't browse Wall Street Bets like that because the
Mhm,
amount of posts before the FRC collapse was
mhm.
guys, they're less than 1 week to get in on the FRC train before they post their earnings. Everybody get on board.
It's
We're at
crazy.
16 bucks a share. They're about to release their earnings. It's like, dude, the people who buy into the hype, like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's really I don't know if you've ever seen, like, I had that one tweet that had a lot of attention, and sometimes I kinda say this or I'll tweet stuff, like, in variation of this, but I was like, "Breaking
Mhm.
news, sources close to me have informed me the next GME is GameStop." Because it's always like, "Oh, the new player." Right now it's,
Yeah.
"Ooh, Pepe coin." Like,
Yeah.
there's always some, like, hot new thing, like, some shiny looking item.
Mhm. Yeah.
So,
Oh,
it's
FRC, XBit,
Mhm.
FRC got delisted. I'm pretty sure that they're delisting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, they're done. Trading Fraternity said so.
Oh yeah, this is one of the posts. This got like 511 upvotes, a few awards. TLDR, FRC is the bargain of the decade. Get in while you still can at $16 a share. Like, dude, I don't know, man. Like,
It's crazy.
for like the betterment of humanity, Wall Street Bets should be shut down. Like, how the
Just
fuck?
for the better, yeah.
And then this is the same group of people who were saying, all right, guys, buy puts on Western Alliance. We saw a Financial Times article that said they're going to go under. We didn't do any further research, but, buy those puts, short it. It's like, then they lose all their money. It's like, this is fucking terrible. Like,
yeah,
it's like this, I don't know. It's completely disorganized hype around things without, like, personally, so I don't, like, when I see that shit, I don't buy into it. Like, if I see a Wall Street Bets post with 1 million upvotes and saying buy into this stock, I don't do it, but people do. Like, people just say, oh, well, they've clearly done their research. It's like, like I personally think, it's like you can do whatever you want, like you say whatever you want, but like the real danger is just the people who have no idea and who just buy in. It's like,
and then they just upvote it, and then another person upvotes it, and then it has enough upvotes to the point you're like, well, all these people upvoted it, so they're buying it too, so I'll buy it. Like, I think that's how people start thinking. And that's also like with all these coins that come out of nowhere, like, oh, well.
Yeah, Pepe coin is going to be the next Doge where it's going to immediately.
Exactly. And everyone's talking about it right now, like, oh, well. And every time I see it in my feed one more day, I'm like, okay, so another handful of people, or obviously very large handful, are like, oh, well, it's still being talked about. That means it's the next thing. Like
the Wall Street Bets coin. The Wall Street Bets crypto?
I don't even
Have
think
you heard about that?
No, I don't think I did, actually.
I haven't heard anything about this either. I saw it on Twitter. Apparently, Wall Street Bets had a coin that was operated by the moderation team.
Was it that ape thing, or is that something else?
No, it was like Wall Street Bets, like WSB coin. So yeah, a mod dumped a meme coin worth 635,000 in a rug pull. Yeah, so it was WSB coin, and it was like the head of the moderation team.
Oh shit! Yeah, this is recent news. I didn't even see this.
Yeah, this was a few hours ago. I think like 10 hours ago maybe.
Wow.
And nobody was really talking about it. But yeah, Wall Street Bets is a total fucking scam. They had their benefits during the whole GameStop thing. That's how I found out about GameStop, was Wall Street Bets.
Me too, yeah.
But now, like, absolutely, XBit said that Reddit is compromised. I wonder how much of, since Wall Street Bets had this success in destroying the short sellers, I wonder how much of it is like brought in, and just like how much of it is compromised by people from like BlackRock, Vanguard, Chain Capital, whatever, that are just trying to like manipulate the mindset of the people that use it for retail advice.
Yeah, I think definitely. And yeah, like what Xfin said, it's a controlled narrative. They want to pump their bags of debt. That makes sense. Like if you're like, oh yeah, everybody buy FRC, and then institutions are letting go of these shares. They have buyers and retailers, which is kind of crazy. And I like XFIT's own narrative. BlackBerry's the real mess.
Hell yeah, dude. I just put $3,000 into BlackBerry.
Dude, we both did right before this. Not
yeah, dude. Financial advice. No.
Yeah, big financial advice there. Yeah, on that one.
Yeah, guys.
But
absolutely. No,
Scott's right. One undecided risk. GME. But time will tell.
So, when I was getting into options, I was looking at a few. Let me see. There's a subreddit called Theta Gang. For people who
selling options.
Selling options. And I So I was like looking around. I'm like, what should I do here? When I was looking at like the collapse of the banking industry, I'm like, what do I do? Buy? Because I didn't know anything about options, so I was looking into it. And there are some very silly individuals who are selling calls and stuff, not covered calls,
naked calls,
but like naked calls. Like there was this one guy.
That's wild.
It's scary, dude. Like that shit scared the fuck out of me. I'm like, I'm just gonna do long puts, and that's it.
Yeah, only do covered if you ever sell options, for sure.
Yeah, that's scary. I I was gonna do like a call on fucking what's it called? JP Morgan when they bought First Republic. I was like, oh, this is gonna cause their price to go up for sure. And then like I lost like $20, and then I'm like, fuck that. Like I'm done. I'm getting rid of that contract. Like this is not good. But let me find this guy who lost his Silicon Valley. This is here. I'm gonna repeat this story.
Sounds good.
Here, you go ahead and ignore me for a second.
No, you're chilling. I'll hit the chat real quick. XBit says, "State of gang, join us." Yeah, XBit's a little bit of a trader. He maybe have some good insights for you.
Oh, nice.
And then Scott says, "Read and study Black-Scholes models before trading options. Lots of risks of loss." I'll write that down. Never heard of it. Good looks. When Iron Condor, I know that's like I think it's 4 options strategy. That's where it gets really crazy, because I did study options a while back, and I started understanding like selling covered calls, like because covered calls is just covered by 100 shares. Covered puts is covered by the amount of the put. So if it's $6 put, you need $600 cash to cover it. So definitely selling options is an interesting concept. There's actually a guy at my job too. I talked to him. He used to be a wealth manager of some kind, and he's like, "Yeah, I used to sell options a lot for my clients." And right now, if you're selling puts, which is pretty insane in the sense of what I'm about to say, I realize if you're selling puts, let's say you sell a $10 put on any stock, right? Then you're holding 1,000 in cash. So while that cash, like until it expires, you're actually earning interest on that underlying cash most of the time because it's in a money market account. So like on top of earning money from the put, you could also be earning money from the money market. And I realized that. I'm like, damn, that's pretty crazy. I didn't even know about that. But yeah, definitely Scott has good said, say be careful with options. For me, Scott, personally, I haven't really messed with them in quite a while. But Nathan's just getting into it, having some fun with them.
Yeah, just long puts against these failing banks. Not really a whole lot of risk when you're doing that.
Yeah, and like, says Scott lost on AMC.
Oh, dude, that's scary.
Yeah, no, I don't think so actually, but hey, I would never touch AMC.
Just losing money, like that's the thing when it comes to like these like. So I can't find the post on Reddit, but there was a guy who basically was selling calls for Silicon Valley Bank, but basically like saying that, oh, the stock is it's gonna go up, and he was selling a bunch of it naked. So it was like, unlimited risk basically. And that was the day before the bank went under. And then like the day the bank, like the opening day, like the day Silicon Valley tanked through the floor, then this guy lost all his money instantly. Like his bank account was gone, like empty. He had $200,000 gone, like in an instant. And he checked his bank account. It was gone. It was empty. He had zero in his savings. And it was like, I think he was like 2 million in debt or something like that, or even more.
Oh, man.
And he had to it was like thinking about declaring bankruptcy because he had nothing left.
Yeah. What can you do at that point? Oh my God. Yeah.
That's like that was my first like introduction to the idea of options trading. And I'm like, oh, this is fucking horrifying. Like that's terrifying.
And anything with margin or like where you just are naked is really, really can get scary if you're not careful. And it's crazy too because they'll allow like anybody to like kind of get permission for that. I feel like
so easy.
It's so easy to get it. It's like that's not something people should get.
Just long puts. That's all I'm doing. All right, just making it till the end of the week.
There you
very low risk. I only put in what I can afford to lose. Turned $160 into 550.
Nice.
That was good for me. All right.
Yeah, like that's awesome, man. Yeah, definitely.
Well, this last week on the banking collapse, I've made, if I were to keep this up, $700,000 a year. That's what I'm looking at.
Sounds nice. Yeah, it's fun when you math it out like that. Right?
Yeah. Oh, if I perpetual bank collapse looking pretty good for me. All right, guys, that's all I'm gonna say.
like Loki's like one of those TikToks. Like, did you know if you just made this trade 3 times a week for 52 weeks, you'd make $700K a year, no problem.
If First Republic went under every week for the next 52 weeks, I wouldn't be making $700,000. It's crazy. No, like I'm thinking when I mathed it out, when I looked at my earnings this last week and I mathed it out, I'm like, well, shit. I could be making, like, I think about making a TikTok where it's like, hey guys, I'm making 700,000 a week trading
Yeah.
options. Buy my
Like,
book.
oh my god.
It's like
Yeah, right. Oh,
fucking
I have a course now. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
It's called Googling options trading for 30 minutes and then fucking
Mhm.
YOLOing $160 and
Yeah.
seeing what happens.
You know, it's funny you say about like everyone's like, "Oh, buy my course," or like that's become such a meme. And
Yeah.
like, I guess in some scenarios maybe it's valid, but like a couple people are like, "Oh, like you have a finance YouTube channel? Like, are you gonna go the course route?" I'm like, "Fuck no, I'm not
You
selling you."
should, bro. You should.
I don't
Easy
know.
money. Fucking
Yeah,
easy money.
I don't think I could sell a course though. I don't know. I just think it's too much of a meme, and then it's like, "Oh, bro, you're
That's the
selling a
thing though. When it
course."
comes to selling a course, you have to have no self-respect and no
Mhm.
shame. You got to just
Yeah.
say, fuck it. Like I don't care how this looks.
Mhm.
I don't care that I'm scamming people out of hundreds of dollars a
Yeah.
month. Fuck it. Like I'm making money, so that's
Yeah.
all that matters.
I just look at it, I'm like, as long as like I'm making money with what I do with my money, then I can just
Hmm.
talk about it, and that just makes
Hmm.
my opinion somewhat valid, instead of like I'm valid, pay for me, type of thing. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
but what up, Abe? Thank you for being here. I want to say hello real quick. Regulars are probably free shorting a bank stocks like oh 08. I saw that,
That's what they
Scott.
said they were
Might
gonna
be.
do,
We'll see. I mean, I
wasn't
feel
it?
like if that news comes, it'd probably be
I
like
hope
next
not.
week or something. But yeah, that wouldn't be good for you.
Fucking
Or I wonder
hope
how that
not,
affects
dude.
puts.
Actually, to probably increase demand for puts, right? Because you can't do anything else other than like if you want to
Probably,
bet
yeah.
against it, you're probably just going to have to use puts anyway. So it might actually increase the demand, right? I
Hmm.
don't know.
Yeah, I'm
I'm
not too
talking out my
sure on
ass
what.
here. It just sounds like
Yeah.
that's what would
No, yeah,
happen.
I see what you're saying. Like generally speaking, like
Hmm.
theoretically, if you had to
If you're
take
if
that
yeah,
risk in a
if
different
your
spot
choice is
or
between
hedge.
short selling or puts, and you can't short sell anymore, you're going to want to do puts. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe
Yeah,
you can. Who knows?
what to say? Yeah.
Um, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it'd be good. I don't know. I'm kind of interested. It's so ever since I started getting into this options trading, I've been waking up at like 8 a.m. and it's
Hmm.
like I feel like
Nice.
a respectful, responsible person. Like I'm getting up
Because it's
early,
keeping you
checking the
up. Yeah,
market.
yeah,
I'm like, dude, I could do this for a living. But I'm really
yeah.
excited. Like I don't know why, bro. I'm looking forward to Monday mornings now.
No,
Um,
that's a fun thing though. Yeah.
yeah, but it's just like I don't know. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with and it sounds like so ignorant coming from me because I don't have a lot of money, so I'm not
Mhm.
gonna, and I don't hold it in big banks, so it's not like I'm at risk. But of
Mhm.
course it sounds insensitive, but I'm excited to see what's going to be happening with the banking industry come
Mhm.
Monday morning because today was interesting. Today was very interesting.
Mhm.
We kind of said this before, but Pacific Western was at $2 a share. That's when I sold my put.
Mhm.
And now it's up to like 6. So
Yeah,
it
it's
went
pretty
down.
nuts.
Yeah, it went down from 6 to 2 and now back up to $6 a share. And it's like, what's going on over here?
Yeah, it's unprecedented volatility for like bank stocks. Like, when do
Crazy.
you ever see a bank stock moving 50% back to back days, like type of
Yeah,
thing?
it's fucking stupid. I have no idea what's going to happen. This is incredibly unprecedented.
Hmm.
Um
For sure.
and yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. It's weird. I'm
Yeah,
just waiting for the
that's
next one, you
yeah.
know?
It's crazy
Cuz
that we're at a point where we could say that. We're like, yeah, it's only a matter of time. Like,
yeah. Cuz I mean seriously, it's like Russian roulette with which bank is going to be next. It's like
hmm
cuz the fact like that's what really kind of opened my eyes was the fact that Pacific Western lost its value, like lost 70% of its value in like 2 hours.
hmm
That was fucking
yeah,
absurd. Like
that
when I
that
saw
is
that
eye
happen.
opening. That's eye opening.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it was
cuz it
middle of the
was
day.
like yeah, it was like it was like right before market open.
Hmm.
And
Oh yeah,
then
yeah. Then after hours too was the
yeah, then
further.
yeah, after hours it kept going, but it was like it was like leveled off and then like that's when I bought my contract on Tuesday. It was like
Hmm.
leveled at 6. I bought the $6 and I lost money on it. And I
Hmm.
was like, ah, fuck. Like I made a mistake here. And now the stock's
Hmm.
going back up and it's at like $6.30 or whatever like that per share. Then like I checked my phone at 8 a.m. and it's like $2 a share. I'm like,
Hmm.
this is fucking crazy. And it's because they had that rumor about selling, like trying to
Hmm.
sell a company or whatever. that shit could happen to like any of these other regional banks, which is
Yeah.
that's scary. It happened to Western Alliance with the rumor, but like any of
Yeah,
these others
it's
could
insane.
be. That's the thing. It's like all opaque. You really have no idea what's going on inside. And
For sure.
now more than ever, that's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Risk models getting blown out in minutes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It is there. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I feel like if you're good with that, I feel like that's actually a pretty good final say here. I would say. I feel like it's a good way to kind of lead it off. Yeah.
Fuck it. I don't know.
Yeah. Because I mean, that's all I kind of had to say on it. I mean, I feel like I was going to start kind of repeating myself here, but yeah, as a whole, there's more to talk about. So we should definitely like do this again soon. Maybe
Absolutely.
like next week. I don't know. We'll talk after this, but we'll figure that out.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this coming week is going to be. I feel like it's going to be pretty interesting.
Yeah, so there's probably a lot to talk about afterwards.
Yeah, I mean 90-10 to the fact that either it's going to keep going down 90%, 10% chance it's going to level off like it did today for no reason. It's not going to. We're going to see some weird stuff happen next week, but it'll be more to talk about. So tune into Tetra Invest.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He knows the vibes. But yeah, we'll have to see. And then I wonder if any kind of things will happen over the weekend. 'Cause I remember Silicon was it Signature Bank or I remember there's something over the weekend once where I was like, oh shit, all right, this week's gonna be spicy. So who knows? Maybe there'll even be something Sunday. Like it's like you said, it's Russian roulette. It's like anything could happen. Like
exactly.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it here for this time. I think we'll definitely have to come back because this is open ended. There's still more to happen, and like I've been saying, like we're kind of just documenting and just talking about it as it goes. So thank you all of us who have joined us live. Thank you all of you who are watching this back. Appreciate you all very much. And be sure to check out Isolation Streams on Twitch.
Twitch and YouTube, Isolation Streams.
Yes, sir.
Join the Isolation Republic. Largest micronation on the internet.
There we go.
And subscribe to Tetrin for more Jim Cramer impressions. That shit
sir.
was so on. Dude.
I know. I should clip that, actually. I can't believe how good it came out, actually. It's crazy.
That was crazy, dude.
Yeah. But quickly, I didn't know you did cocaine. Comment. Oh, what is it?
Wait. What is this?
Oh, I was just saying GameStop is going up while banks are going down.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
But what were you going to say? My bad.
I was just going to say I didn't know you did cocaine like that to do that Jim Cramer impression.
Hey, how else could I be so good at it, What can I say? But all right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. Have a good night.
Good night, everybody.